They say the 1960s were all about good vibes and rock and roll, but if you peeked behind the lava lamp, you'd find pure nightmare fuel flickering on the TV. These weren't just horror movies, they were trauma machines, sneaking under your skin and making sure you checked every shadow before bed. What was it about these films that made a whole generation afraid of showers, children, or even birds? Let's revisit the movies that rewired our brains and left us begging for the lights to stay on. Psycho 1960. The motel looked harmless enough. Just one lonely building and a quiet young man behind the desk. But when Alfred Hitchcock dropped Psycho into theaters, he didn't just shatter a few nerves, he detonated them. Janet Leigh's infamous shower scene set a new high score for cinematic terror. Suddenly, even the safest routines turned menacing. Norman Bates, with his strange grin and twitchy stare, changed the way we looked at Mama's Boys forever. Hitchcock played the audience like a violin, hiding shocks around every corner and proving that real horror lives in the mind. Psycho wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural earthquake that left audiences jumping at every creak and shadow, convinced that something sinister was waiting just out of sight. The Haunting, 1963. Who needs monsters when a house can drive you mad? The Haunting took haunted house horror to a new level, cranking up the tension until it felt like the walls themselves were closing in. Hill House wasn't just spooky, it was alive, always lurking, always whispering. Every thump, knock, and mysterious chill worked its way into your bones. With the camera creeping down endless corridors and the characters slowly unraveling, this film became a masterclass in psychological horror. No buckets of fake blood, no jump scares needed. The Haunting made you question what was real, and that doubt stuck with you long after the credits rolled. After this, even the sound of old pipes could send chills down your spine. The Birds, 1963. So you thought birds were just pretty little creatures outside your window? Hitchcock decided to prove you dead wrong. In The Birds, our feathered friends turn into feathery assassins, attacking without mercy or explanation. What makes this film terrifying isn't just the beaks and claws, it's the way everything starts out so normal, then turns into chaos. One minute you're at a quiet lakeside town, the next you're barricading yourself against an angry flock. No music cues, no warnings, just pure, silent dread. By the end, even the sound of wings flapping outside made you duck for cover. Suddenly, the world felt a lot less safe, and birdwatching was officially off the to-do list. Night of the Living Dead, 1968. Before zombies were a punchline, they were a nightmare. George Romero's low-budget shocker stormed into drive-ins and living rooms, forever changing what it meant to be scared of the dark. A group of strangers, a creaky farmhouse, and The Walking Dead pounding on the doors. It doesn't get more claustrophobic than this. The black and white visuals gave everything a raw, almost documentary feel, and the slow, relentless advance of the zombies felt like the end of the world. But this wasn't just monster mayhem. Night of the Living Dead made you look at your neighbors differently and left you wondering what you'd do if the dead decided to come home. The rules of horror changed overnight. Village of the Damned, 1960. If you ever thought kids were creepy, this movie probably deserves the blame. In a sleepy English village, everyone blacks out at the same time and wakes up to a new nightmare. Every woman is suddenly pregnant. The babies arrive, blonde, cold-eyed, and way too quiet. As the kids grow, it becomes clear they're not just different, they're dangerous. With the power to control minds and a total lack of empathy, these children are every parent's worst fear. Village of the Damned doesn't rely on gore or special effects. It lets the icy stares and slow-build tension do all the work. The lesson? Beware of the quiet ones, especially if their eyes seem to glow. The Innocence, 1961. Forget wild monsters. Sometimes the scariest ghosts are the ones you're not even sure are there. The Innocence drops you into a sprawling English estate where a new governess tries to care for two unsettling children. The house seems too quiet, and every whisper feels loaded with secrets. Is she seeing ghosts, or is her own mind betraying her? The movie messes with your head, playing tricks with light and shadow. Deborah Kerr's performance turns simple glances and silences into pure dread. By the end, you're left second-guessing everything you saw, and the question, what really happened, stays with you long after the lights come up. The Innocence is proof that subtlety can be way more haunting than any jump scare. Peeping Tom, 1960. Want to feel uncomfortable? Meet Mark Lewis, a quiet cameraman with a terrifying secret. Peeping Tom is the movie that made people nervous to stand in front of a lens. This British classic pushed the limits of what audiences could handle, making you complicit in its story. Mark films his victims in their final moments, turning viewers into unwilling witnesses. Critics hated it at first, but decades later, it's seen as a groundbreaking look at obsession, trauma, and the dangers of curiosity. The camera becomes a weapon, and you start to wonder how safe you are in your own home. Peeping Tom crawled under your skin and dared you to look away, but you couldn't. Carnival of Souls, 1962. Sometimes a horror movie feels like a nightmare you can't shake. Carnival of Souls opens with a car crash, and from that moment, everything feels off. Mary, the only survivor, drifts through her new life, haunted by eerie visions and a growing sense that something is terribly wrong. She's drawn to an abandoned carnival pavilion that looks like it came straight out of a bad dream, making every scene feel otherworldly. Shot on a tiny budget, the film uses haunting visuals and strange sound effects to create an atmosphere you can't forget. There's almost no blood, but the isolation and confusion are chilling. The world never feels quite real, and you're left constantly guessing what's coming next. Carnival of Souls gets under your skin and makes you question what's real, turning every shadow into a possible threat, long after the credits roll. The Mask, 1961. Who knew Canada could deliver such a surreal mindbender? The Mask made history as North America's first 3D horror film, but it's the creepy story that sticks with you. The plot follows a psychiatrist who inherits a strange mask that triggers wild, nightmarish visions each time he puts it on. Back in the 60s, audiences got their own 3D glasses and were told, "Put the mask on now," whenever the hallucination scenes began. What followed was a barrage of screaming skulls, warped faces, and surreal visuals that made you feel like you were slipping into another world. Even after the glasses came off, the weirdness lingered. The mask turned a simple prop into a gateway to madness and left viewers second-guessing what they saw. By the end, you couldn't trust your own eyes, and every reflection felt just a little bit off. The Pit and the Pendulum, 1961. Edgar Allan Poe gave us the story, but Roger Corman and Vincent Price turned it into a horror fever dream for the ages. The Pit and the Pendulum is all crumbling castles, dark secrets, and rooms hiding every nightmare you can imagine. Vincent Price delivers a performance that flips from charming to chilling in a heartbeat. Corman's colorful, exaggerated style transforms the film into a haunted house thrill ride. Think velvet curtains, flickering candles, and shadows that seem to move on their own. Every scene is dripping with dread and gothic flair, making you thankful your own basement is boring and well lit. The suspense keeps building until you're practically glued to your seat. It's horror at its most theatrical, where the set pieces are just as terrifying as the scares. Watch it once, and you'll never look at cobwebs or swinging blades the same way again. The Devil Rides Out, 1968. Forget everything you know about classic monsters. The Devil Rides Out is all about occult terror in the real world. Christopher Lee flips the script, playing the brave hero fighting a shadowy cult intent on unleashing evil. The action unfolds in the English countryside, with moonlit rituals, wild escapes, and constant danger. Hammer Films dials up the chills with clever special effects and relentless suspense, making every scene a high-stakes race against the unknown. The story blurs the lines between good and evil, pulling you deep into its mysterious world. Watching this, you can't help but look at your neighbors a little differently and wonder what's really happening when the lights go out. The Devil Rides Out delivers a message as sharp as it scares. Curiosity can get you into serious trouble. After this film, every shadow outside felt like it might be hiding something. SpiderBaby, 1967. Some horror movies are just pure, beautiful weirdness. SpiderBaby introduces you to the Mary family, a group so bizarre you almost root for them. Lon Chaney Jr. plays the caretaker, trying to keep the family's strange habits secret. But when outsiders arrive, chaos follows fast. The crumbling house sets the perfect backdrop for creepy antics. Siblings who act wild, dinners that feel like a dare, and an atmosphere that jumps from funny to frightening without warning. The film expertly mixes dark humor with true horror, making you grin 1 minute and flinch the next. Every scene is unpredictable, loaded with offbeat moments that burrow into your memory. SpiderBaby proves horror doesn't need rules, just a willingness to make your skin crawl. After watching, you realize the most disturbing stories are often the ones you can't quite explain. The Curse of the Werewolf, 1961. Forget everything you know about werewolves. Hammer Films brought the old legend to life in wild Technicolor, with Oliver Reed delivering a performance that's both tragic and terrifying. Set in Old Spain, the movie follows Leon, a man cursed from birth and doomed to become a beast under the full moon. The transformation scenes are legendary, turning Reed from a troubled young man to a snarling monster before your eyes. The film piles on gothic atmosphere, cobblestone streets, superstitious villagers, howling wind, and never lets up. What makes The Curse curse of the werewolf truly stick with you is its sense of heartbreak. This isn't just about a monster, it's about a good man fighting against a destiny he can't escape. That's what makes it haunting. Homicidal, 1961. Think you've seen every twist out there? Homicidal will still surprise you. William Castle, the master of horror gimmicks, starts with a simple murder mystery but cranks it up to something much wilder. The film's villain is as cold as they come, smiling as the bodies drop. Castle even added a fright break, daring viewers to leave the theater before the shocking finale. The suspense piles up with every minute, racing toward a final reveal that's truly jaw-dropping. When it hit theaters, people left talking and arguing about the ending for days. Homicidal is pulpy, slick, and pure fun, the kind of movie that leaves you suspicious of everyone you know. Even now, it stands out for how it plays with the audience's nerves and expectations. You might guess the secret, but you won't see it coming. After watching, you'll never trust a friendly smile at face value again. House of Usher, 1960. When Roger Corman and Vincent Price tackled Poe's House of Usher, they turned moody horror into high art. The mansion isn't just a backdrop, it's a living, crumbling character filled with secrets and dread. Vincent Price's Roderick Usher is haunted by curses, obsession, and his own unraveling mind. Every shadow feels alive and dangerous, blurring the lines between reality and nightmare. The tension builds with every step through the eerie halls, drawing you into a world where sanity is on shaky ground. Corman's direction and Price's intensity make every moment gripping and gothic, giving the film a thick, haunting atmosphere. It's a masterclass in how to turn a simple setting into pure psychological terror. After watching House of Usher, you'll think twice before exploring old, creaky mansions or questioning what might be hiding behind locked doors. Paranoia, 1963. Some movies keep you guessing, and Paranoia is a master at it. Oliver Reed plays Simon Ashby, a spoiled heir convinced his long-dead brother has returned. The Ashby family mansion drips with secrets and dark corners, while family members scheme and whisper behind closed doors. It's part gothic chiller, part psychological puzzle, and no one is quite who they seem. As the story unfolds, the line between reality and madness starts to blur, and you're never sure who to trust. The film is drenched in stylish visuals, shadowy corridors, dramatic music, and nervous glances. Watching as a kid, you realize the scariest monsters might be right in your own home, sitting at the dinner table. Paranoia delivers suspense, surprises, and an ending that sticks with you, teaching one big lesson: trust is a dangerous thing. The Nanny, 1965. If you ever had a babysitter, The Nanny probably made you suspicious. Bette Davis plays a caretaker whose sweet smile hides something darker. The story centers on a boy who's terrified of his own nanny. But is he just troubled, or does he know something no one else does? The tension builds in a fancy London apartment, every moment dripping with suspense. Davis's icy performance makes you question every motive, and the film never lets you relax, constantly shifting your trust. Ordinary family life turns sinister, and the line between protection and threat becomes razor thin. After this, even the most harmless caregiver seemed a little suspicious. The Nanny is a reminder that sometimes the real danger isn't the monster under your bed, it's the person tucking you in. The Flesh and the Fiends, 1960. The Flesh and the Fiends digs into a true-life nightmare, the story of Burke and Hare, grave robbers who turn to murder for profit. Peter Cushing stars as Dr. Knox, a man so obsessed with science he ignores the horrors committed in his name. The foggy streets and gaslit alleys of old Edinburgh give every scene a haunted, claustrophobic feel. The film mixes gruesome drama with moments of genuine dread, forcing you to confront the dark side of progress. It's a chilling look at how good intentions can open the door to real evil, and a reminder that some of history's worst monsters didn't look like monsters at all. After this movie, every shadowy figure on a dark street feels like they might have something or someone hidden in the bag they're carrying. House of Dark Shadows, 1969. Forget modern vampire tales. House of Dark Shadows brought the original gothic chills. Spun from the cult TV show, it tosses you into Collinwood Mansion, where curses run deeper than the family tree and Barnabas Collins prowls the halls. Jonathan Frid's vampire is tragic and scary, moving through foggy graveyards and candlelit corridors with equal menace. This movie goes for classic, moody horror. Bats, secret tombs, and plenty of jump scares. It's full of atmosphere. With so much mist, you can almost smell the old stone. If you grew up with this, you probably triple-checked your windows and avoided basements after sunset. House of Dark Shadows makes you believe every family has a skeleton in the closet, sometimes literally. The Shuttered Room, 1967. The Shuttered Room feels like an urban legend come to life. A young couple inherits a creepy old mill on a remote island, only to find that family secrets are the scariest kind. The villagers are hostile, the relatives are odd, and a locked door upstairs hides something best left undisturbed. The setting oozes rural dread, the kind where every creak and gust of wind feels like a warning. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that some mysteries are better left alone. Watching this as a kid, you understood why some places feel off the minute you walk in. The film leaves you with one lasting message. Sometimes it's smarter to leave the past behind and never go looking for what's been locked away. And there you have it, the 2060s horror classics that rewired my childhood brain, and probably yours too. It's wild how a single movie can make you jump at the creak of a floorboard or second-guess a friendly smile. Did your own childhood nightmares make the list? Or did I leave out the one film that haunted your dreams for years? Drop your scariest memories in the comments, subscribe for more deep dives, and remember, the past is never really buried.